If you struggle getting up from a chair, or it's becoming more of a challenge, or let's say you just want to build up your strength to have a bit of a easier time when getting up from a low surface like a chair or your sofa, I want to share 3 tips. Now these 3 tips are 3 techniques that you can bring together before you do the lift. So they are essentially going to work with one another. So the first tip I want you to think about is where your momentum is going. Now the tip is about finding your center of gravity in a favorable position to what you want to do, and that is bringing your nose over or towards your toes. And what this does, imagine your center of gravity is an invisible line. Now wherever your body is, that invisible line is. So if your body's here, your center of gravity is pretty much upright. Now try to get up from that position. It's actually really difficult because your center of gravity is up and it is down. Even when you're in the back of a chair, let's say you're at the back of a chair and you're trying to get up from here, your center of gravity is here, right? So your body position isn't in a favorable position, let's say. There's not much momentum there to the direction you want to go. So if it was here, it would just be, again, pretty tough. So what we want to do is think about, okay, how can I bring my body in a position where I want to go? And that's you bringing yourself to the front of your chair, not too far forward because we don't want to tip forward. And then you bring your nose, like I said, towards over your toes. And here's the key thing though. Try not to go too far forward, because what we don't want is for you to fall, is for you to fall forward. So we want to find that nose over toes in a position which you feel safe and comfortable with. And I always recommend, if you do have support next to you, like a chair or a wall, or even a chair out in front, a stool out in front, and you can practice this, you know, with chairs, then you have a support, you have a safety mechanism there. Cool. So that is tip 1. That's to think about, okay, I'm at the back of the sofa, back of the chair. I'm going to bring myself forward, not too far forward so the chair doesn't tip, and then bring my nose over my toes, towards my toes. Now the second tip to couple with that one is to think about the tripod foot. Essentially what we want to do is imagine you're screwing your feet into the floor. Now the tripod foot, that's the cue, by the way. Imagine you're going to screw your foot to the floor so your foot doesn't move. And this will create the tripod foot. So the tripod foot is pressure at the bottom of the big toe, bottom of the little toe, and then at the base of the heel. That's the tripod. Imagine a triangle, boom, boom, boom. And what this does is increases your base of support. Now, a lot of the time when we're trying to get up from the floor or from positions, I do this, you know, we're not really thinking about that base of support. We might be, you know, driving up with the toes here. Our foot might not even be on the ground, or like half on the ground, right? Trying to push up from certain angles and positions. So when you bring your base of support at the strongest and most efficient way possible, now we have an efficient push-off. Now we're starting literally with a push-off with the strongest foundations, essentially. So that's tip 2, is to imagine you're screwing your feet to the floor. So apply pressure of the big toe, the little toe, and the heel before you push off. Okay, so that is tip number 2. This will also help the balance between your joints and your bones. So we're not leaning too far forward onto the knee. We're not, you know, leaning, hyperextending the low back to get up. We're actually really balancing out the load on your joints, load on your ankles, load on your hips, load on your knees, load on your lower back, which once again supports your body, avoids you getting injured. So let's bring those 2 together. You're here. You don't have to do this right now. You can if you want. Just sharing the tips for today. Okay, momentum, nose over toes, base of support, got my tripod foot, which leads on to tip number 3, which is the push off. Now imagine as you push towards standing, imagine you're pushing the floor away with the feet. So imagine your feet are pushing down. Imagine you're trying to push the floor downwards. Now what this does, one, it activates the right muscles to try and push off. We're activating the glutes, we're activating the quads, we're activating the calves. We're generating the right muscles, activating the right muscles there, once again, for an efficient push-off. But I want you to think about something. Think about a trampoline. You know, if you were to jump into a trampoline, if you were to go straight leg, if you weren't to apply any pressure on the trampoline as you came back down from the sky, what tends to happen? The body kind of stops, right? Or you don't get as much of a push off. But if you bend the legs and you push into the trampoline as you drive back down, you bend the legs, you push into the trampoline, what does the trampoline do? It gives you more oomph. It supports you, right? It supports your pushback and propels you up. The feedback of the trampoline pushes you higher. And that's the analogy I want you to think about. Pushing the trampoline, it's as if you're pushing and the floor is pushing you back. So that's a cue to keep in your brain, which allows, once again, an efficient push-up. Hopefully that makes sense. So, putting all of those three together, what this will look like in practice. Back of the chair. Remember Josh's post. I'm going to move forward. Okay, let's create momentum. Where's my center of gravity? Okay, right now it's up. That's going to be hard to push up from there. Let me lean forward, nose over toes. Cool, base of support, foundational position of the feet, the tripod foot, bottom of the big toe, bottom of the little toe, base of the heel. If I need support, that's absolutely fine. Then I'm going to push the floor away. What's happening then? That trampoline, the invisible trampoline, is giving me a bit more feedback to push back up, supporting me essentially. So here, then I'm going to push the floor away. Let me show you once more. Finish watching TV. Okay, cool. Moving forward, nose over toes, gripping the feet, tripod foot. I'm going to push the floor away as I stand up, push the floor away if I need support. Brilliant. I hope that was helpful. So what I think you'll find is, one, you feel stronger. Two, you feel actually much more stable. But three, I think you'll find it feels easier and smoother. And this, will this happen overnight? It requires practice, right? Because you're moving your body in a new way, and that requires adaptation. So be patient. Start practicing those three cues. Let me know how you get on. Would love to hear from you. But I really think you'll find that easier, nicer, safer, more stable, more strength, more output when driving up from chairs, things like sofas, maybe even your bed. Anything low, any chair that is low to the ground. So I appreciate your time. Please like, subscribe. Would love you for it. Lots more content like this coming up. And I really appreciate your time. Hope this was helpful.